Hello, everyone. Welcome to Midtown. This is the opening for the EFA members show. And what I'd like to do is share my screen for a little bit to show you the website, which has quite a bit of documentation for those of you who can't come to see it in person. So I shared the link to this page in the chat if you want to check that. And I just wanted to point out a few things. You can see here there's a way to book an appointment. So the show is open from Tuesday to Friday, 11 to 6 p.m., but you do need to make a reservation. So please book an appointment on our website. The address is studios-efanyc.org. And you can see on the website there is quite a bit of text explaining the works, which I urge you to read. You can download this text on the press release. There's also a checklist and then a viewing room. The viewing room has images from the show. And so we haven't yet put up textual descriptions, but we will do that soon. So what you're seeing here is Liselot van der Heijden's installation, which is site-specific to the EFA studio's office. And this is basically a photograph with a video superimposed. And in the video, you can see the American flag and also the Century 21 Studios flag, which is basically a conflation of the American dream and the Hollywood dream in this setting that is just super hyper corporate architecture. The setting for this is 6th Avenue. If any of you have been there, you might recognize it. Here is a close-up. Just next to this is Javier Romero's Sticks and Stones number 17, which is a drawing and collage. Some elements have been cut and pasted in. The drawing shows a lot of detail trace. Here's a close-up of a lot of action that has happened in creating the drawing. I find the drawing to be something like a logo, but also related to kind of an anime character. Like you could see that this is kind of an individual, yet within a very structured format. On the next wall is Akira Ikezoe's Coconut Heads Invented Giraffe Ramen, which if you follow it, it's a kind of a circular economy, a sort of an absurdist economy. Here you see giraffes eating these greens. The giraffes are pulled apart by these coconut head people, and their skin is removed, and in the middle they pull out this meat, which is then ground up and rolled out into ramen noodles. The ramen noodles are then fed to coconut head people. The bowls are then used to grow more greens. Across the room is Tamiko Katawa's Jeanette's Mother Dancing. And this is made up of used pantyhose, which were gifted to Tamiko. And she made this site-specific arrangement in the space. I find that it sort of relates to Times Square, kind of like lights and action, dancing. These to me are very much spotlights. This is a drawing by Tamiko that sits next to the installation, which is related to the pantyhose, but also suggests more of an architectural space. These are Yongjae Kim's series of paintings, which are very photorealistic, but they are oil paintings, very detailed. You see no brush strokes. This is the pret-a-manger that was located just outside of the EFA studio building, which is now closed due to COVID. And here is Faniali's urban characters. These are figurative in a sort of abstract way. They're cloth and they're stuffed, and they show the outlines of urban characters, possibly homeless, some people in wheelchairs. Almost all of them are carrying baggage. And in this installation, they sort of float as if clouds, filling up an entire wall. Liselot van der Heijden also has a second piece, and this is Face to Face, which shows a woman on the street confronting the camera. Behind her, you see all of the city rushing by, completely ignoring her. There's a kind of weird tension watching this. Finally, we have Rona Bittner's From Empirente, and these are a very close study of ballet shoes. Rona was donated a box of ballet shoes from the American Ballet Theater, and she's been studying them to see what they reveal and how we feel about them. They're very abstract in this iteration, but she also has taken photos of the theater floor and the marks of the dancers. So I just turned off the sharing, and I just want to open it up to questions. We have many of the artists in the show here, so they're available to answer questions. Would anyone like to start? Or if one of the artists would like to elaborate a little more about their contribution.
It's a very beautiful show, I think. Congratulations. Good curating.
Thank you, Patricia.
Is everything new work made for this show, or is it sort of recent stuff that people have been working on?
The majority was existing work, and some of them actually older work, and this was an opportunity to show them. Again, Liselot's second video, Face to Face, is from 2013, but also it was an opportunity to ask Liselot to do a new piece and give her the space to experiment. Tamiko, similarly, she's been doing these installations with the pantyhose for a while, but she really needs a space in order to execute a new one. So it was great to give her that chance. Yes, Tamiko, you're muted.
Yeah, now, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I'd like to add that I was so glad to have this opportunity because I received this box of pantyhose from Jeanette May, who is also an EFA member, photographer, and she's on my floor. And then she went to Chicago to sort of clear out her mother's house when she went to the nursing home. And when I opened this box, usually I, collect from friends, lots of people. I never seen it this way. They are clean and then so well organized and then separated by colors. And very special, beautiful pantyhose. And they had not one pair of black pantyhose. So the black ones are my collection. And then I immediately thought that she must be either dancer or singer, but I didn't want to ask Jeanette because until I finished this piece. And then I found out after the last week when I spoke to her that she actually wasn't a professional, but she liked the dancing, going to parties, dress up, and then, you know, it's a very character happy person I can see. So this is the first time I had this beautiful, fancy pantyhose and not smelly. And, so, you know, I was really happy to have this opportunity for this perfect location because Jeanette is here, you know, in our building. So thank you.
Well, you also did these in Harlem. You just finished an exhibition, Tamiko.
Oh, yes.
Yes, but those were different pantyhose, I think.
They are different, yes. Well, this one, I was so happy to have this opportunities because it's so special that I kept it. You know, I was looking for some chance to do it, to work with it, but I didn't want to, you know, mix it up with the other materials. I just kept it especially in the box for a long time. It's about 3 years ago she gave me. So, yeah. So it's for me the pantyhose on work is I did since 2002 many times, but it's my paintings. It's kind of a project of paintings, and I have now more than 2,000 pairs. So I have, you know, many colors and in different shades, so I can do the wall painting. So, you know, it's a very different feeling when I work with this.
There is a question in the chat from Dylan Gauthier, who's our director of the project space. I'd like to know what the artists think is in store, no pun intended, for the post-COVID future of Midtown. Are there any artists that'd like to take that question? Maybe Fanny?
Why me?
Because your work is so involved with the people of this on the streets and the sort of emblematic of sort of the change in the people who are using Midtown at this moment.
I don't know about the future of Midtown. I mean, I think there's a lot of homeless people right now because the shelters were closed, right? Do you know if they're still open, or I don't know about this, or if they're still closed, or are they going to reopen soon?
You mean the hotels or?
No, the shelters. I think there were some shelters located in Midtown that were closed. I mean, I was told. I don't know where exactly, but not too far from here. No?
I don't know about the shelters. I know that they made available a lot of the hotels that were closed as spaces.
Right. Yeah, I think so. The hotel,
I was going to say, Fanny, they moved. I'm on the Garment District Alliance board, and it's been a big issue. They moved all these tourist hotels when they realized there were not going to be no tourists. They all contracted with the city. They moved 4,500 homeless people into this one neighborhood.
mm-hmm, yeah.
And they're the board, they're fighting it. It's like, look, it just all changed so dramatically overnight, but the board is really fighting it, and they just think it's so unfair. Mm-hmm. It's like, couldn't you like spread this out? But the hotels happen to be here, so. But it's changed the neighborhood a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I have no idea about the future since I mean, I can't even see my own future, so it's hard to predict the future of a neighborhood. Yeah, I guess it will be the same for Another, I don't know, 8 months to a year. I'm not sure. Yeah.
I think the future of the neighborhood is tied to the hotels, but that's really post-pandemic because it's about tourism in New York now. They call this the Times Square area.
Well, I think a lot of it is tied to the performing arts. I mean, I think this whole city will
Yes.
come back if the performing arts can come back
Mhm.
on all levels, not only Times Square and theaters that are on Broadway, but off Broadway and Lincoln Center and Carnegie Hall and every performing arts venue, independent, all of them. I think it's, everything balances on that. And it's not only a lot of people are talking about the office space on 6th Avenue and all those towers, but I think especially New York is tied to tourism and restaurants. All of them work around the idea of, the people coming here for performing arts. I think
Right.
we have to hope for that community that it comes back.
Before the pandemic, they were always full.
Packed.
Packed, yeah, that's the word.
It was like one day this neighborhood was packed with tourists, just packed. And it's like somebody flipped a switch. And the next thing, it's like all these, and by the way, the homeless people they moved into this neighborhood, a lot of them were coming from prison. So it was got pretty rough. We got broken into, doorman next door got beat up, and it got pretty rough there for a minute.
Do you think it's improving, Bill? I think it's improving a little, isn't it?
Well, Patricia, I was just thinking that, and I was talking to somebody, I was saying, it doesn't seem like it's been that bad. It's been freezing out. They're all staying in their rooms. Just for the first warm spring day. It suddenly hit me, it's about the weather.
Sure.
But I'm not sure which I liked better, the tourists or the tourists drove me crazy. They just totally.
They don't bother us,
Right.
except just picking up the space, right?
Oh, man. Well, while there's a pause, I just want to say, Deric, the show is just gorgeous. I'm really impressed.
Thank you so
Really
much.
is.
Bill.
Really beautiful.
It's a nice show.
Beautiful show. Yep.
And I get to live with it every day. It's so great to have, to be, and it's great when the show changes and we suddenly have a new, but the show is so beautiful. And congratulations to the artists. What
Well, it speaks to the quality of the artists in the EFA, doesn't it?
Let's face it, we got one fabulous group of artists here. And somehow I have a feeling all the artists in the building will agree with me. Right?
I think it's thank you for Deric. It's
Oh my God, we're so lucky. We are so lucky.
so nice. So
He's changed the whole look of the place. It's great.
Well, it was very fun and very easy to find a great collection of artists to show.
But a great
Fanny, you have another question in the chat. Do you want me to read it for you, or can you?
I'm curious to know how Fanny views it. And so that particular work was made a while ago, in 2014-15, as a part of this kind of special residency that was focusing on homelessness. It was called the Engaging Artists Residency with in collaboration with More Art. So it was really the topic was really homelessness for that residency. And we have to do, at that time, we have to work in shelters, and, it was kind of, like a social and art residency. So I'm not sure the intent. So yeah, and I produced this work as at the end of the residency. So it was really inspired by the work that we did in, like the people we met, and yeah, the hands-on, because we have to, I remember working in the soup kitchen. That was really kind of working, it was really, I don't know, it gave me more, I don't know what to say. A view from the kind of, as a worker, as opposed to as a viewer, worker in those organizations. So no, that was really, I enjoy doing this, yeah. But yeah, so, and I was happy that Deric picked this work, because he gave the work another, life, because I never exhibited them the way it is. So it was, I was happy. Yeah.
Thank you. It's a beautiful piece.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jody, I mentioned clouds because in my press release, I wrote about it in terms of like a Bruegel scene of small figures. And, Bruegel has this very specific connotation, and that came to mind. But when I was touring the show with someone, they said, oh, it's like clouds. And I was really moved by that, because it was much lighter and so I brought it in. I mentioned it again.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I like that you mentioned Bruegel too. Like, as soon as you said it, I was like, oh, like all of these populated figures, right, in the scene.
Yeah, and like Bruegel is in his, like there's so little painting of normal people, let's say, that aren't rich and famous. And Bruegel was one of them, brought that into the art history. So we can actually see their lives it's just so rare. And so that's why I like Fanny's, when I was doing the show, I was like, there's these missing lives that are not being talked about. And I think her engagement is very legitimate and deep, and not just like, oh, I'm going to do something about homeless. And also, when talking about it, we don't say homeless necessarily. It's because these are street people of different calibers, not necessarily homeless, just people who have baggage, people who aren't the shining examples, not the Broadway stars. They're the other people on the street.
Yeah.
Any more questions? We have several of the artists here still.
I have a question for Deric.
Yes.
I was just talking to you a little bit earlier about the show, and I think it's a really beautiful show, really sensitive. And what I think is so interesting is the different types of work and how they play off one another, and the things the works in different way call attention to. So do you want to say a little bit more about that? We were talking about what connects the work and things like that, because I thought that was really fascinating when we were having that discussion.
Yes, the show was actually conceived last year and was planned to be installed just as we went into shutdown. So we didn't deinstall the last show, and we were going to hang it, and then we realized there was just not much point in hanging the show. So we ended up having our lockdown with nothing in the gallery the whole time until we have had one show previously, which was the new member show. And there's a lot of documentation online if you'd like to see information about that. But when we were feeling that we should continue showing, I suggested we revisit this show. And of course, everything changed in terms of how the context of the city feels. But a great deal of the work was still relevant. In fact, all the work was still relevant. There was just some different nuances in how it was hung. And actually, Fanny was an addition in order to really acknowledge the change in the city. And I guess we had been talking about how I had initiated the show, the concept of the show, as a way to work with certain artists that I wanted to work with, that I hadn't worked with, or that I actually really didn't know that much about. And since all the artists in the building do work in Midtown, I decided this was an angle that I could actually bring almost anything into the show. including abstract art, which was just super great. And I had a little bit of a, wondering if people would question why certain work was in, especially let's say Javier's work, because on the first blush, it does not look like it deals with the city. But I did a studio visit when I'm like, all this work is so impacted by being on these streets, the black and white, the like harsh lines, and then when I was talking with him, he was like, oh yeah, I have an architectural background. And it all clicked with me. I was like, well, obviously it's like, this needs to be shown in this context as architectural drawing. And was that the gist of our conversation?
Yeah. Well, I also thought like what was interesting to me is that, how the art is related to the city or the works that you picked, and that there was everywhere is a real human component. It's really from the perspective of humans rather than from some other perspective. And I thought that was interesting to look at all the works through that lens.
Correct. I started from an architectural investigation, and then it really was clear to me that the inhabitants were really the key to the story. So most of the work really deals with inhabitation and the denizens of the city. And then Liselot's work does actually both, because one piece is really about people and the other one is really about architecture, but also how the city is sort of used by people.
Can I just say what I love in terms of EFA is that you emphasize the most important thing about EFA are all the amazing artists. The second thing is the location. We're in Midtown.
Yeah.
And that we're all working here in Midtown. There's so few artists who are still in Manhattan. And I love that that's what you focused in on, and all these artists do work in Midtown. That's the whole point. And I love that the connections aren't like obvious, like Javier's piece. Yeah, it just totally makes sense, even though it's an abstract piece. But it's perfect. Like the dialogue is really good. You really feel that it's about Midtown. And Yongjae's painting, the subway painting, I'm sorry, it's breaking my heart. Where is he? It's just so gorgeous. I mean, they're all gorgeous, but boy, I love that painting. That painting is perfect.
Yeah.
Deric, I also want to say that reading your text was really nice. It's so clear and it's just so poignant at the same time that it made me think about how rare it is to read a text that's actually on the money that way.
Well, thank you so much. It's really rare that people actually read the text carefully. But this was a benefit of having so much time to work on the show. So maybe this sort of slow down, shut down pace is good for everyone. It's good for the work.
It certainly gives us all time to evaluate, what we're doing and the direction we're going in, and the uncertainty, and how you get through that. Yeah.
No, I'm a different person. It's I'm also slowly going insane, but that's another story. But no, I mean, it's like I really see things differently. It was just such a shock for it to be so different.
Mm-hmm. And also, we don't really know when it's going to go back. That's really what's kind of tenuous, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the hard part. Every time you think we're almost getting around, or it's going to be the end, or in a few months, it's just, we just really don't know.
Well, we have spring coming on, warmer weather.
Yeah, that will be.
It's something.
Absolutely. I also think it's very revealing. I think we will never experience Midtown the same way. I think it really, with removing all the tourists and exposing so many issues, or suddenly everybody who was in the street or all the homeless, it's just so revealing in so many ways. I don't know that we will ever really go back, or that it's even possible, or that we want to too, you know. It's just
there'll be another boom period, but it's always different.
It's a different,
like this is the closest thing. I never thought we'd go back to the 70s. You know, I was here in the 70s, and it's like, it was so different than the city I was in the last couple of years. And like overnight, but it's not, but it's different.
yeah.
Like there's depressed periods, but everyone is like very specific. And I have to tell you, I don't have a computer at home. So I was coming in, plus I just felt like somebody needed to be in the building because there was nobody in the building, and Alex was coming in once a week. So I've been coming in every day the whole time. And those first 3 months when the city was in total lockdown was just extraordinary. Walking through New York City with all the pear trees in bloom, like the white pear trees, and no one around. I could walk for hours and not hear a car horn honk. It was amazing. I will not forget that. And made me much more aware of the city in a different way without the people in the way. I was noticing things I had never noticed before. No, this has been,
it was a privilege.
Yeah.
I think, you know, in a way, it was a privilege to see our city.
No, absolutely, absolutely. No, I'm not.
Jeff Bezos couldn't have paid for it.
Yeah.
For the wrong reasons, but nonetheless, you know, to see. I mean, I grew up here. It was weird to see my memories, you know, a stage for my memories in a way. You remember things that you completely forgot. But even people who didn't, just to see the city with all that noise out of the way, I think was a privilege. And I think if there's anything good about this time and Midtown being what it is now, maybe we'll learn about how many people are really desperate and need help, and maybe there will be a mobilization to really do something concrete and long lasting. You know, before the tourists come back.
Yeah.
Before we all scuttle back into our busy lives and
I
lose
am
our sense.
enjoying the quietness, particularly in the evenings. You know, the city is streets are so quiet.
So quiet.
Yeah, it's nice in a way, but scary sometimes.
But I'm not sure I got to.
We haven't had that.
Yeah.
Time seems very different. It's hard to gauge.
Mm.
It's what happened 2 days ago feels like it was a week, or sometimes it's reverse.
Mhm.
It doesn't. It seems out of sync. It's hard to grasp.
Right.
I'd love to hear more from Rona about her work, if she wouldn't mind talking about the project with the ballet slippers.
I got it. Yeah, an old David Greg Harth, who was a member here, sent a Google group email out 2 years ago, I think, a year and a half ago in August, asking if anybody wanted a box of ballet shoes that he had found in the garbage 12 years earlier, that he found in his storage space. And, you know, it's first come, first served. And I said, yes. And he put them in a Lyft or an Uber, and he sent them here. And I opened this box, and all of my work has to do with performance, and it has to do with spaces where something once happened, but the happening is not in the space anymore. And there were these shoes. And it occurred to me that what happens in those shoes is all in the point.
Mm.
And I wondered if there was a way to show what, the strength and the perseverance and, these seemingly weightless, very graceful ballerinas, and what it does to their bodies, and so the shoe to me is the illustration of that. So, and then this August he found another box of shoes in his storage space from the same group. So now I have a whole.
So. Do you think you might do any type of installation with the shoes themselves?
I thought about it. I'm not sure. I'm still, this year has been a big delay. I haven't been able to work with them. I wasn't here for many months. I have them. They're all here. So they're quite amazing.
They really. Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to say they're quite. The images of them are quite poignant. Like you really. They evoke a lot.
Thank you. I hope.
I just want to thank all the artists for the work and for being so much fun to work with and interesting. I think we're gonna end shortly, but I wanted to end with a Sondheim song that's in the press release, just as a nod to Broadway and to all that we've been through. So you're free to trickle out, but I'm just going to share the screen and play this for you.
Thank you, Deric.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deric.
Thank you.
So there's lots of versions. I'm not really sure which one we need to hear. I think this Follies one is probably the best, but it's good to watch something. So I'm going to put Julie Wilson.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to do another song from Follies, Stephen Sondheim's music and lyrics. I call it Everybody's Survival Song. You're here, and I'm very glad you are. And William and I are here, and we're very happy to be here. And also, considering we're still here. It's the main thing. Good times and bum times, I've seen them all, and my dear, I'm still here. Plush velvet sometimes just pretzels and beer, but I'm here. I've stuffed the dailies in my shoes, strummed ukuleles, sung the blues, seen all my dreams disappear, but I'm here. I've slept in shanties, guest of the WPA, but I'm here. Danced in my scanties, $3 a night was the pay, but I'm here. I've stood on bread lines with the best, watched while the headlines did the rest. In the Depression, was I depressed? Nowhere near. I met a big financier, and I'm here. I've been through Gandhi, Windsor and Wally's affair, and I'm here. Amos and Andy, Mahjong and platinum hair, but I'm here. I got through AB's Irish Rose, 5 Dion babies, Major Bowes, had heebie-jeebies for boobies, bathysphere. I lived through Brenda Fraser, and I'm here. I've gotten through Herbert and J. Edgar Hoover. Gee, that was fun and a half. When you've been through Herbert and J. Edgar Hoover, anything else is a laugh. I've been through Reno, I've been through Beverly Hills, and I'm here. Reefers and vino, rest cures, religion and pills, but I'm here. Been called a pinko, Tommy too, got through it stinko by my pool. I should have gone to an acting school, that seems clear. Still someone said she's sincere, so I'm here. Black sable one day, next day it goes in the hawk, but I'm here. Top billing Monday, Tuesday, you're touring in stock, but I'm here. First, you're another slow-eyed vet, then someone's mother, then your camp, then you career from career to career. I'm almost through my memoirs, and I'm here. I've gotten through Hey Lady, are you who's this? Wow, what a looker you were. Or better yet, sorry, I thought you were who's this? Whatever happened to her? Good times and bum times, I've seen them all, and my dear, I'm still here. Plush velvet sometimes, sometimes just pretzels and beer. But I'm here. I've run the gamut, A to Z. 3 cheers and damn it, they love me. I got through all of last year, and I'm here. Lord knows at least I've been there, and I'm here. Look who's here. I'm still here.
Fabulous.
Thank you very much.
Fabulous.
Thank you.
Well, I hope that amused
Perfect.
some of you.
That was so cool.
Mm.
Nice.
Link to this. Can you send me the link? Can you put a link in the chat?
Yeah, let me just grab it.
That's a good one. We need it.
I've never seen that version. She's great.
Yeah, she's beautiful. Okay, great. Thank you, Deric. What a
You're welcome. Thank you. And
great ending.
there's still a little wine if you want to come back down to the gallery. Otherwise, good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
everyone.
Wonderful.
Bye.
Bye.